Remember this? The Ice Age series from 20 years ago, the stories of Manny, Sid and Diego brought these extinct animals back to life. What the series did not touch is the question of why they are no more with us. Did this have natural causes, or did this have anything to do with them being an item on our menu? Is the extinction of the megafauna food history's dark secret? Hello and welcome to this fourth episode of Edo Ergo Sum, I am what I eat. In the last one we were looking at whether early humans were cannibals. Yes, some of them were, and whether this contributed to the demise of other human species like the Neanderthals. Whereas it seems that this is not the dark secret of our food history, another one has emerged. All these big animals like mammoths that are no more with us. Mammoths are far from the only species with that fate. Look at this illustration in a book about life in Germany before the arrival of the Romans, before the Römer kamen. I hope you can see it. It shows the big animals of Ice Age Europe on scale in relation to the size of a human's on the bottom left. A forest elephant, the one on the top right, a woolly rhino, a European bison, an auroch, a moose and yes, a mammoth. Of all the animals shown on this page, none has survived in Europe that is bigger than a moose. As you can see, since they are all drawn on scale, a lot of them were, but they have all disappeared. Roughly at the same time when our own human species Homo sapiens arrived on the scene. Of the crime, you may almost add. Is this a coincidence? Same as with the Neanderthals? Or has the control of fire that has established us at the top of the food chain pushed these animals to extinction? There has long been suspicion that our arrival in Europe has caused this disappearance, not only because of the time co-occurrence, but also because it looks as if there has been a trend to smaller animal bones in our food leftovers. Generally speaking, fireplaces of early dates have produced bones from larger prey than those of later dates. This has less to do with the small is beautiful movement, but is more related to the fact that bigger animals had a hard time co-living together with Homo sapiens if they were an item on its menu. Look at the forest elephant, the one over here. He was a regular prey of Neanderthals 150,000 years ago. He was bigger than the mammoths caught by our own human species 100,000 years later, and much bigger than reindeer that became the staple food of humans before the agricultural revolution. Lately this suspicion has turned into proof, at least as far as the mammoths are concerned. In 1967 a dig was discovered in Poland close to the city of Krakow that contained the remains of about 110 mammoths. Naturally it did take a while to sort through such a big pile of rubble, so it is not surprising that only recently an important discovery has been made. One of the animal bones contained a fragment of flint, a type of stone that has long been used by prehistoric man to produce sharp objects such as knives, axes or spearheads. The bone in question dates from about 25,000 years ago, whereas mammoths were thought to have lived in Poland until about 10,000 years ago. And, you may say, so what? Where is the proof? What made the piece of flint a suspect is the fact that it was found inside a bone. To get there it needed to have penetrated through a 2 cm layer of skin and an 8 cm layer of fat. So much more than our skin, which is only 1.5 to 4 mm thick. In other words, the piece of flint had to get through at least 10 cm of animal before it could hit a bone. This could only mean that natural causes such as stumbling could be ruled out, and a human using a spear must have been the culprit. Why is this finding important? It sheds a light on prehistoric man's relationship with mammoths as his food source. Using a spear for the kill meant that not only the weak and vulnerable were potential victims of his appetite, but any beast unlucky enough to cross his path. As a consequence, many more mammoths could have fallen victim to human predation than previously thought. So many, in fact, that human involvement must have been responsible for their extinction. Europe is not the only continent where a relationship between the extinction of the megafauna and the emergence of Homo sapiens can be found. The first continent that could not be reached by food from Africa, one where we had to build something that floats or wait for a lower sea level to move there, was Australia. Humans arrived in Australia 50,000 years ago. Within a few thousand years, big beasts like the giant flightless bird Gynonis newtoni were extinct. It is difficult to attribute this disappearance to other factors than human interference, since the same happened on the island of Tasmania in front of Australia a few thousand years later. Why a few thousand years later? Because that is how long it took the first humans to get there. Need more proof? Look at the Americas. On the last continent, populated by modern humans, the same pattern can be detected as in Australia. Here it is the islands of Cuba and Hispaniola where the megafauna held out 5,000 years longer than anywhere else, as they were, you guessed it, populated by us 5,000 years later. So is the extinction of the megafauna the dark secret of our food history? I am afraid that this really is the case. True, we can never be 100% certain. There is this other fashionable topic that comes to mind whenever such things are discussed. Climate change. Did the mammoths die out because the Ice Age finished about 10,000 years ago? It is hard to come to this conclusion since the same animal species have survived several warming periods before. Besides, climate change does not really give an answer to why there has been this trend for bones from smaller animals in prehistoric man's leftovers. Killing the bigger beasts first does. And climate change cannot really be made responsible for the difference in extinction timetables between the continent of Australia and the island of Tasmania right in front of it, or in the Americas between Cuba, Hispaniola and the rest of the continent. Human arrival can. It seems as if our modern human race hunted these animals to extinction, starting with the bigger beasts first and slowly but steadily working their way down to smaller prey like reindeer, which, as said before, became the staple food of Paleolithic people in Europe. While this was of course a catastrophe for the animal species involved, it was not really such a good thing for humans either. After all, if you kill all the animals you depend on for food, what are you going to eat next? Sure, you can eat your way even further down the scale, from forest elephant to mammoths to reindeer and then to what? Pigs? Rabbits? Rats? Surely such a trend could not continue in perpetuity. Something else had to be found to feed the masses. Luckily for us, it was. Remember from episode 2 that cooking had a fourth advantage for food preparation: the ability to alter food altogether. Whereas the first three advantages, making food easy to digest, safer to eat and better to store favored meat, this fourth one favored another type of food present on Homo sapiens' menu: starch. Whereas we humans can consume it when it is raw, we don't do this efficiently, nor silently as it produces flatulence. Widely available grasses and starchy grains could however be altered with water and heat from a fire to produce something new, delicious, nutritious, and easily transportable and storable: bread. Collect these grains and start to sow them yourself, and you have an almost endless food supply. The Neolithic Age, the first agricultural revolution, is born. How this happened and what consequences this has had on who we are will be discussed in the next 6 videos, a mini-series about the agricultural revolutions in prehistory. Thank you for watching this episode of Edo Ergo Sum, I am what I eat. If you did enjoy it, please hit the like button, this would help other people find it on YouTube. If you want to receive more videos like this one, also about the present or future of our relationship with food, consider subscribing to the channel. Of course I want to know what you think about this question. Have we hunted big animals like mammoths to extinction for food? Please leave your remarks and questions in the comments. Bye for now, hopefully to the next video when we talk about the agricultural revolution and its consequences on who we are today.